Welcome everyone to VMblog's coverage of the VMware Explore 2022 event in San Francisco. We're thrilled to be joined today by Simon Townsend, the Chief Marketing Officer at IGEL. Simon, it's great to speak with you again.
Great to see you. Great to be back on. Hi, hello to you and everyone who's tuned in.
And I guess for the 5 people that don't know about IGEL out there in the world, if maybe just start things off, give a little quick overview of the company, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. No problem at all. Operating system and management platform comes together to provide employees secure access to digital workspaces, regardless of what cloud they're being delivered from, regardless of what device they're logging on to. So we enable people to work from anywhere in the most secure and productive and cost-effective way. And the 2 components that make that up is a very, very secure read-only operating system that goes on your devices, and then a management platform that IT use so they can manage thousands, if not tens of thousands of devices, all from the cloud or the data center.
And what specifically does IGEL offer, like a VMware shop or a VMware implementation? What kind of problems does your IGEL solve?
Yeah, sure. VMware obviously have got a number of different technologies, but specifically in the end user compute space, we're really talking about how IGEL integrates and complements what VMware are doing with the likes of Workspace ONE and endpoint management, and probably more relevant and more common what they do around their Horizon and their Horizon Cloud. As people continue to need the ability to work from anywhere, VMware Horizon and desktop virtualization provides one of the most cost-effective, secure ways of deploying data and applications down to your remote workforce. A lot of times, and in many cases, that means that you're actually deploying Windows-based desktops from the Horizon Cloud. All of your applications are up there, all of your data is up there. That means that all of your patching is done centrally, all of your updates is done centrally. You can onboard new users very quickly, deploy net new applications with ease. If you're going to move, though, those Windows applications, those Windows desktops into Horizon, our view is that if you then go and give everybody a Windows laptop to access that virtualized Windows environment, you're undoing a lot of the goodness that you did by moving all of your desktops up into the cloud. So where we sit, very simply, is we provide a very lightweight operating system, sits on a thin client, sits on a laptop, sits on a PC, and it provides us instant, very seamless but secure access into our Horizon environment. Our operating system comes with a number of different web browsers. I'll show you those in a second. It also comes with the latest and the greatest VMware Horizon clients, and very quickly means that when a user logs onto their machine, they can either access all of their SaaS-based applications, their Workspace ONE environment, or in fact, go straight in, launch a Horizon application or virtualized application from the cloud and work in one of the most secure ways. So what we tend to find is that we're actually helping organizations unlock and accelerate their move to desktop virtualization. We're helping lots of VMware customers move from what was on-prem VDI to now some form of desktop as a service. And we also, quite importantly, save both a lot of money, but also save the planet at the same time. Our operating system is very thin. It can repurpose an existing device or endpoint. So if you're sat there with 1,000 thin clients or 500 laptops that perhaps you were looking at getting rid of and replacing, IGEL can actually be installed on all of those and then immediately bring new life into those devices, extend the life of them for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and give you access into your VMware environment. In fact, numerous examples of joint customers where we've done that recently, saving millions of pounds in terms of not having to buy net new hardware and laptops, PCs, etc., and also significantly reducing an organization's carbon footprint because they're not having to acquire new devices either.
Now, the EUC space where you kind of live and play, I mean, it's a crowded area. You know, there's a lot of messaging that goes on in there. As you sit here, you're talking about the IGEL technology, your offerings, what you do. Can you also kind of maybe double click on there and talk sort of, you know, what are the 1, 2, 3 things, whatever, that differentiate you or that makes IGEL unique in this market?
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. So first of all, when you look at desktop virtualization, VDI, and in fact, desktop as a service, we've been around for over 20 years now. So our wheelhouse, if you like, our speciality is our secret sauce is this operating system. It's a form of a Linux operating system that we take and we actually wrap into that our own secret sauce in terms of management, our own secret sauce in terms of how we secure it, but we also embed over 120 other technologies into that operating system that are part of the EUC ecosystem that allows our technology to offer a like for like, if not better, PC experience, even though someone is using a secure Linux operating system to access a cloud delivered virtualized desktop. So, you know, many of your listeners will be familiar with digital experience tools, ControlUp, Liquidware, EG Innovations, Login VSI, Lakeside as an example. We build their agents into our operating system so that if you're in the EUC space, you've got complete visibility, not just of your virtual environment, but also your environment that's running IGEL. If you're in healthcare, you'll be familiar with technologies like Improvata, where people come up to their devices and with a card and they tap and go. That security and that level of authentication needs to be built in. If you're looking at things like contextual access or conditional access, we partner up with companies like Device Trust so that we're not just able to secure the environment and the workspace based on who the person is, but perhaps where they are in the world. Printing continues to be a challenge in virtual environments typically as well, along with a whole host of other security, peripheral support. You know, we've all got headsets on now. We're all using Logitech cameras, EPOS headsets, whatever they might be. All of these things need to work out of the box. One of the key things that IGEL focuses on is this concept of an IGEL ready program. And this is a program that's got that 120 partners in it. VMware are one of them. And that means that we bring this technology together. We make sure that our operating system has got the latest and the greatest technical integrations so that when I log on to a VMware Horizon estate, I'm using the latest client, I'm using the latest protocols. I can do things like Microsoft Teams and Zoom offloading, even in a virtual environment. And I've got my security and authentication built into that. I can have visibility with my analytics tools and my digital experience tools. And so we bring all of that together. And I think that really is where, you know, the 100+ developers that we have working on this solution spend a huge amount of their time, and where we've spent a huge amount of our time now building that ecosystem so that our customers can deploy with confidence, and also we don't affect any form of, you know, user productivity.
You spoke a little bit about your partnerships with other companies. How does IGEL partner with companies like VMware and Microsoft And how are you helping to extend the Anywhere Workspace and enabling desktop as a service?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that lots of organizations get caught up on is, yes, they want to move to the latest and the greatest version of desktop as a service. They would love to go with Horizon Cloud. They would love to put lots of their Horizon estate on Azure, as an example. But people ultimately, and quite rightly, they worry about security, and they also worry about cost. And it's very, very clear. We've just finished a 22 city tour of our Disrupt events, which are built for the ecosystem. And it's very clear when you speak to our customers that the reason why they're choosing to go with IGEL and VMware, or IGEL accessing virtual desktops on Azure, is for those two reasons, right? They are saving money, both in terms of capital expenditure and operational cost, but they're also ensuring and extending out their strategy when it comes to security, and particularly around securing endpoints. Our relationship with Microsoft and VMware is obviously second to none. As I said, we're just off the back of this Disrupt tour. We've actually got 4 more cities in North America in September and October, and 4 more cities in EMEA in September and October. Both Microsoft and VMware are platinum sponsors of those Disrupt events. Anyone can go to disrupteuc.com and they can see where we're going next. We're still going to go to New York as an example. We've got another big event coming up in Munich. Microsoft and VMware are keynote speakers at both of those events. I've spent a huge amount of time with the likes of Skip Gumbel and Terry Vaughan over the last couple of months, as we've sort of gone out and spoken to thousands of partners and thousands of customers about how this ecosystem is coming together to change how we deploy secure workspaces.
Now, one of the things I love about IGEL are the different campaigns that you run, like your whole Disrupt event. And I know you're currently running something, it's called Why Compromise? And you're working with partners like Lenovo, LG, and ControlUp. Can you describe to folks watching what that's all about, and let us know, how you're presenting it at VMware Explore?
Yeah, sure. So this campaign is open to anybody. You can actually go to igel.com/why compromise today. But we'll also, to your point, be taking that to VMware Explore. You'll be able to see this campaign in action on the booth. Lots of our devices will be running it. And if you go to the LG booth, you'll see that they're also running IGEL on all their devices, and they'll be talking about the Why Compromise campaign as well. But very, very simply, the Why Compromise campaign exists for a couple of reasons. First of all, we don't believe that people should compromise on security and on management when deploying virtual desktops. I think I mentioned before, right? It doesn't make a great deal of sense if you put all your Windows desktops up in the cloud and then you go and deploy Windows desktops at the edge. It's sort of, you're having to pay and manage Windows twice, and that doesn't make a lot of sense. And people don't want to compromise on their investment in desktop virtualization. And so what we're doing with the campaign, very simply, is giving people the easiest way to evaluate IGEL OS and, in fact, ControlUp on LG laptops and Lenovo laptops. So at the moment, we've taken 2 devices. One of them is called an LG Gram, and one of them is a Lenovo ThinkPad device. They come pre-installed with IGEL OS. We send them out to anybody that registers for the campaign. You can go online, as I said, you take a quick call from ourselves. We will send you out that laptop. When you boot that laptop up, it will actually start with a completely vanilla version of IGEL on it. Not configured, not personalized, pretty much no use to you, apart from the fact it will say to you, please can you enter your Wi-Fi code? please can you enter the address of a management server that's in the cloud? Please can you enter in a one-time passcode, which we would have given you? And then within about 60 seconds, we will then automatically configure that over the air, personalize it, demonstrate how easy it is to onboard a new user and a new device. You will then be able to access all of the desktop virtualization technologies that are out there, including VMware Horizon cloud-based desktops. You'll be able to evaluate IGEL with ease, evaluate ControlUp, test in your own environment, test IGEL and things like Microsoft Teams and Zoom offloading that I mentioned to you before. And then that laptop is then yours to keep. And through the partnership that we've got with LG and Lenovo, we just felt it was really important to, number one, highlight to people that there are powerful mobile devices out there that are certified to use with IGEL, and that IGEL really should stand alongside Windows and Chrome OS as an operating system that can be deployed to what ultimately now are remote workforces. And I think I said to you guys earlier, right? I've got what's called an LG Gram in front of me. I'm not sure whether you can probably just about see that. It's all branded up. Very, very lightweight laptop. I take it everywhere with me. It runs IGEL OS, and I access my desktop, my virtualized desktop from wherever I am. And it's got web browser, it's got Chromium installed on it in that particular case. Access all of my web-based applications, as SaaS-based applications as well.
Great. And at VMware Explore, they're talking about the big picture on the keynote stage. What are some of the trends that IGEL is looking at in 2022 and into 2023?
Yeah. So I think we are seeing a shift. The reason why most of us in the end user computing space have been employed for as many years as we have done is that we've been really focused on how do we deploy applications and data down to our remote workforce and our employees. And 10, 15, 20 years ago, when the majority of businesses ran on Windows-based applications, the best way to deploy those Windows-based applications was to put them in a virtual desktop and deploy it that way. What we are now starting to see is something that Gartner referred to as the long tail principle of Windows-based applications. The number of Windows-based apps within businesses and organizations is actually declining, and they're being superseded by web-based applications or web-based services like Zoom and Teams, where you've got a very, very small client, but most of the legwork is being done in the cloud. That is having a fundamental change on how certain organizations think about the future and think about deploying their future workspaces. If the three of us were setting up a company today, we would probably go out and every application we would buy would be a SaaS-based application. And that means straight away that we could have device independence. It wouldn't matter whether we ran Windows, Mac, Chrome OS, or IGEL OS. In fact, the sensible option would be just to run, like a Chrome OS or an IGEL OS, because it's very, very thin. And, from a buyer's point of view, I'd say IGEL OS is obviously even more powerful. But that is what we're starting to see for some niche organizations, that shift towards SaaS and web-based applications. But for the majority of people, that Windows long tail is going to take a very, very, very long time to go away. And in fact, the biggest banks in the world, the biggest insurance companies in the world, the biggest healthcare organizations in the world, they're not going to be able to get rid of those Windows-based applications anytime soon. They're just too embedded in the organization. They're too expensive to migrate. They've got scanners or back-end systems that they're linked to. So the big picture for IGEL right now is, how do we help an organization who is coming from a Windows client-server world and is trying to get to a 100% web-based SaaS world of applications? I would suggest that 95% roughly of the world is currently stuck in the middle of this at various different points, right? Some with more Windows-based apps, some with not. And what IGEL's really focused on, along with VMware, to be perfectly fair, and things like Workspace ONE, is how do you deploy workspaces in that hybrid world? And when we think about hybrid, we naturally think about hybrid workers and, oh, I'm going to be in the office tomorrow and I'm working from home today. The workspace itself actually is way more hybrid than probably the workers are. You know, we've got different applications, different data sources. Organizations are trying to find a way, what's the most secure and cost-effective way of aggregating that workspace into one. And that's what IGEL is doing a lot of work with VMware on at the moment, right? Saying, how do we get our operating system into Workspace ONE so that IGEL can be managed alongside Workspace ONE? How do we continue to add value to allow IGEL OS to seamlessly access both SaaS and Windows delivered applications via Horizon? And you know, my last comment there would be all of that needs to be done incredibly securely. You guys know ransomware, endpoint security continues to be a massive problem and a massive headache for us all. And I think we're now in a world where, you know, it's a buzzword, but we have to be looking at zero trust, right? We have to look at what is the most secure way I can get someone to get access to just their applications and just that corporate data, and minimize the risk to the employee and the organization.
Now, Simon, you've given us, as per usual, a lot of information, a lot of great information to think about after this. It'd be great. Can we get a quick demo of the product so that the viewers that are watching at home can see what the product looks like?
Yeah, sure, no problem at all. I will also say we're obviously going to be in San Francisco at Explore, so come on down to booth 1915, 1915 is where you'll find us. And I think I also mentioned before, you know, you've got partners like LG and other hardware vendors there. If you go into any of their stands, you'll subtly notice that they're all running IGEL OS as well. There's a couple of events that are going on during that week as well, both with Liquidware on the Monday night and with ControlUp on the Tuesday night. We're also inviting both existing customers and prospects to our office, which is just 2 blocks up the road. But sure, I can dive in right now and just give you a very quick overview of the IGEL operating system and how we access a Horizon environment. Great. So what you're looking at here is IGEL OS. IGEL OS could be running on any thin client, desktop PC or laptop. Either you've chosen to convert that particular machine to IGEL OS. You could have deployed that centrally via SCCM or Workspace ONE. You could have gone round and put a USB key in every single device and re-imaged it. That process only takes about 3 to 5 minutes. Or alternatively, you've bought a device like that Lenovo and that HP device that comes pre-installed with this lightweight operating system. Very familiar look and feel, networking options, battery options, date and time down the bottom, a start menu, a wallpaper, all of which can be completely configured centrally. You can see in this particular case that I've given it a VMware Explore wallpaper. In this particular example, this happens to be my workspace. I've got access to a number of different digital workspaces. I can use RDP, I could connect to native AVD, Windows 365, Citrix, Parallels, or in this particular example, I'm going to connect to VMware. And again, you can see that I can use either PC over IP or Blast. Doesn't need to be configured in this way. You can actually have IGEL OS boot straight into your Horizon session. So if you just want to present them with a virtualized desktop, you can do. But the important thing here is that regardless of the hardware that's being used, IGEL OS is a secure, encrypted, read-only operating system that is being centrally managed. We typically see that one administrator can manage around 10, 20,000 devices all at once. And any configuration changes that take place, so perhaps you want to reconfigure what Horizon environment you're connecting to. Maybe you're migrating from on-prem to another. Maybe you're coming from a different desktop virtualization technology and you want to go to Horizon. All of that can be centrally configured. The updates are rolled out all over the air, all done via a trusted protocol. In this particular example today, I'm very simply going to launch my Horizon desktop. It is going to authenticate for me, and it's then going to ask whether I want to reconnect to any of my sessions or whether I've got any new sessions. So you can see here I've got all of my applications that are available to me, and I've got an RDS desktop and a multi-user desktop. So first of all, I'm just going to go and connect back into Microsoft Word. There's my Word session. I'm going to carry on typing here. So I'm just going to say, yeah, no problem at all. I think this Horizon session is being delivered from EMEA, and obviously for this particular example, it's for VMblog. Likewise, I might actually want to come in and load up a desktop and give a complete desktop experience, not just an application. Now you can see digital experience management process, personalization services that are running, configuring my desktop, tailoring it to me. This desktop now is running in Horizon Cloud out of an EMEA data center. I have the ability quite easily now to go and browse the web, get access to all my corporate applications, such as Outlook, such as Word, any CRM application, all of my data, my files are stored in there. I can quite happily work inside this virtual desktop for the rest of the day. In this particular case, the user doesn't have any access back to IGEL. Depending on how it's been configured, you may well have said, actually on power on, I just want you to log into this remote desktop, and that's all the person sees. Alternatively, if there is a mixture of web-based applications or perhaps other desktop virtualizations included, lots of our customers customize IGEL OS as the workspace, and obviously you can launch things from there. But needless to say, very easy to manage, extremely secure, and a very, very cost-effective way of getting the latest VDI, desktop as a service clients onto a device in a secure way, allowing people to work from any device on any cloud.
Thanks for that great demo. If people are not going to be at the VMware Explore event, where can they go to find out more information about IGEL and some of the stuff you talked about today?
Okay, I've got 3 websites for you. Number 1, igel.com. Number 2, igel.com/whycompromise. And lastly, disrupteuc.com. The first one's going to give you everything you need to know about IGEL OS, how we help with security, how we help reduce cost. There's some sustainability pages up there as well. The second one, the Why Compromise site, is going to give you the ability to register to get hold of a Lenovo or an LG laptop pre-installed with IGEL OS. And the last one, disrupteuc.com, can give you those dates for both the North American and the European tour, where you've got the likes of VMware, Microsoft, Nerdio, LG, HP, Lenovo. The list goes on of many, many eco-sponsors, about 20 EUC ecosystem sponsors who all come together, and that is both a partner and an end user event, and it's completely free of charge to attend.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with VMblog.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you both.